Hey there, and welcome to Inside Butler Football. I'm your host, Bree Seaver. The Butler football team fell short in their first Ivy League matchup against Dartmouth with a 35-7 loss on Saturday night. In a second, we'll be joined by Butler head football coach Jeff Forrest to talk about last week's game and take a look at the games in the weeks ahead. Stay with us on Inside Butler Football. We welcome you back to Inside Butler Football. I'm joined today by Butler head football coach Jeff Forrest. Coach, thanks for joining us again.
Great to be here.
So Butler got off to kind of a rocky start against Dartmouth when they scored on the opening kickoff. Could you explain exactly what happened on that play and how the team responded to that the rest of the game?
Well, I thought we responded well after that, but it was just one of those plays where the return guy, the ball was kicked short. The return guy kind of got caught up in the pile, and people lost track of him. We lost contain. We didn't do the things we needed to do as far as fitting in the right spot, and he bounced down the sidelines. And 14 seconds into it, we're down. But as far as responding, I thought we did well. I thought for the most part all night, the scoreboard didn't affect how we played. We focused on the task at hand. I thought we played the play that was in front of us and moved on from there. Now, not the way you want to start or the way we want to start any game, but we're looking forward to Campbell this week.
How was the overall atmosphere at Dartmouth and at Memorial Field? Was there a lot of people at the game?
Yeah, it was a neat atmosphere in a small little town. A lot of us had never been out there before, so it was a unique trip that way. Beautiful campus and a night game. Just like we experienced here with the Franklin game early in the season, a night game. Students were out. Alumni were back, so it was a great atmosphere for college football, and it was a great night that way.
Now, Butler seemed to move the ball pretty effectively throughout the game. It's just a couple opportunities you had on offense, and they just couldn't capitalize on them.
Right.
There's a couple of times where you were in the Dartmouth 10 and you just couldn't score. So could you explain maybe why you weren't able to capitalize on those offensive opportunities?
I think that's been the thing we've been stressing and working on and working towards for a couple of years now. We've been at the top of the league in yardage, and statistically we've been fine, but we haven't scored enough points, and that's what it comes down to. Offensively, you got to score. Defensively, you got to get the ball back. Offense, you got to score, and we didn't. You're going to have 3 or 4 key plays a game that you have to make them. They're going to make them, and you make them, and they made them Saturday night, and on both sides of the ball, which allowed them to kind of end up running away from us a little bit.
Now, despite the loss, a lot of guys turned in career bests this game. Your wide receiver, Derek O'Connor, he had 164 receiving yards. Matt Lancaster was 23 for 35 for 267 yards. So despite the loss, can you talk about their performances and the positives you take away from that?
Well, I think, like we said, we played well. We played a lot better than the score indicated. The score was the result of 2 or 3 plays. And we did have guys that had great performances on defense. Jeremy Stevens had another outstanding game defensively. So we did make plays on both sides of the ball. But the biggest thing we've been stressing, we haven't played complementary football. The offense has to respond to defensive adversity, and the defense has to be able to step up and help the offense. When we don't get a score, we got to get the ball back. When we give up a score, we got to answer a score. When we're really, really good, we do those things. And Saturday night we didn't help the other side of the ball, special teams included. And that's what we got to get back to is not only making those couple plays. Those couple plays allow you to pick up and help the other side of the ball out.
It's all about learning how to adjust.
No question. You got to. Those experiences in the preseason games, we've had a unique schedule and some unique games that'll help us down the road.
Now, the 3 games you have played, 2 of them have been against FCS teams. So how do you anticipate that will help you and benefit you as you move forward into this week and beginning conference play?
Well, there's a lot of reasons for upgrading the schedule and playing those times. The experience that the student athlete gets, the recruiting side of it, and then also the preparation for the league play. The teams we played the first 3 weeks are going to be no different than the teams we play in our league. That you're going to have a really good feel now of the level of competition and the readiness you have to have in preparation, and your ability to to compete down in and down out is critical, and those games have given you a good benchmark to know what to expect.
All right, well, we're going to take a look at a few highlights from this week's game. All right, here, and we've got Trey Heater. He had a good game. He averaged about 8.5 yards per carry. Could you talk about this play in particular?
Well, I mean, Trey's an outstanding back, but you can see the front here. The line does a good job of covering up, and the backside is the key to allow him to cut back. They got up to the second level and allowed Trey to cut back there, and it was a nice run. And I think this is a similar call. Trey does a good job of stretching the edge. He has good vision. He's an explosive runner. When he puts his foot in the ground, he can go. But he'll be the first to tell you that it's those 5 guys up front covering up those green jerseys that then allows him to get to the second level where he can take advantage of his skills.
And on the defensive side of the ball, we have a sack here. He was able to get right through. Can you explain how he was able to get through?
It was a nice job there. He comes inside, Ian Lessman comes inside and hits him in the back. This is what we're talking about, the difference. This is a play that stops the drive and gets the ball back for us offensively with a punt. But the difference being, if we can get on this thing, now you've flipped the field and you've made a real dramatic play change. So that's a difference a lot of times. We got the ball back, put the offense in a chance to score. They had to go 80 yards. If we had an opportunity to get on that fumble and all of a sudden it's a 35-yard field, the game becomes a lot easier. So that's how close it is. The score really didn't indicate how close we were in that ball game.
Right. Well, a Butler student athlete doesn't just measure their success by the amount of wins they have on the field, but by their achievements in the classroom as well. Our reporter Matt Schumacher has more.
Playing college football is a grind, putting in long hours out on the field and in the weight room. But what we see here is only half the battle for these players. As student athletes, academics come first, and an important component to the academic experience of Butler student athletes is study tables. I caught up with the coordinator of academic support and a few of the guys to get the inside scoop.
Study table is a location where we can ensure that the student athletes have a monitored and quiet atmosphere. Our ultimate goal with regards to freshmen is that they have the best first semester they can possibly have.
Right.
And we really think that study tables can definitely help perpetuate that.
Freshman year study tables, it was a good experience for me. They make the freshmen get 6 mandatory hours a week. On Sunday, we go mandatory 3 hours. And study table is just a good way to make sure the freshmen stay focused on what they need to be doing and get their work done and make sure it's a good transition from high school to the college lifestyle.
It benefits us a lot because, we don't get much free time. So a lot of times, we just want to hang out and be with our friends and get some extra rest. So it's good to have that blocked out time on your schedule for pure studying and nothing else.
When a student enters study table, they check in, and then they immediately write out what they intend on accomplishing while they're there. As we well know, the schedule of a student athlete is pretty hectic, and it's important that when you come into an atmosphere like that, you have a plan. You have at least something on your mind that you want to accomplish.
Between running study tables, counseling student athletes, and coordinating tutors, Sonia Hopkins pretty much does it all to make sure these guys are getting it done in the classroom.
Oh, she's one of the greatest assets to not only Butler football, but the whole student-athlete organization.
Sonia Hopkins is awesome. She's very helpful, I think, to every student-athlete, and she's a great person and a very useful resource.
Reporting for Inside Butler Football, I'm Matt Schumacher.
Back here on Inside Butler Football. Now we're looking forward to this Saturday's game. The team opens up conference play against Campbell. Both Campbell and Butler are 1-2, and you're definitely familiar with Campbell. You've played them a few times.
Sure.
So what kind of things do you anticipate them doing well that the team's going to have to prepare for?
Well, they're well coached. Coach Steele has done a great job. He's built that program from the start. So they've now kind of gone through their first wave of recruits and are into that second group of guys. They graduated a lot of guys just like we did, and their young players have really played well and are getting better and have potential to be really good Pioneer Football League players. So you're kind of looking in the mirror a little bit. It's going to come down to preparation. The team that plays the hardest, the longest on Saturday, and that's kind of where we're working right now, is to be in position to do that.
Now, does Campbell relies a lot on their running game, correct? So
Yeah.
how is that going to affect the defense?
I mean,
especially?
they're really good at their scheme. There's no question. There's the option element that everyone has to be disciplined, and you got to fit your gap. It's a big time trust your buddy week. I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to trust that my teammate's going to be in the right spot, because it's assignment football. But at the same token, they got the ability to, pull it out and throw it deep. So everyone's got to be in the right position, and just keep stressing the things that we always talk about, and that's as far as, keep the ball in front of them, make them line up again, play hard, be assignment sound, and pursue the football and play with great effort. But they're a challenge, and it's a tough team to get ready for in a week, because you don't see that scheme week in and week out.
Right. Now, is there any standout player you've noticed that it's going to be a little bit of a threat?
Well, I think with them, it is the scheme and the team comp. They have great skilled players, and they have a little bit of a graduation on the offensive line, but off tape their line looks to understand the scheme and is a physical unit. So more so than any one player in that scheme, it's the ability for the quarterback to distribute the ball to the right guy at the right time, and that's why we need to do a good job of fitting gaps and playing hard.
Butler's lost to Campbell the past 2 seasons, so what do you take from those losses as you move forward to this week's game?
Well, I think those years are gone. There are some similarities to what they want to do offensively. They have a new defensive coordinator, so the defensive scheme's a little bit different. They got a lot of new players on defense. So, one year to the next, I think what you take away is you understand that it's a program that is going to be well prepared and going to play hard, that you better get ready to play. It's not the same Campbell program that we played 4 or 5 years ago when they were starting up. They are a legitimate FCS Pioneer Football League program. They got great players. They're well coached and they play hard. So we got to be ready to play.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach, for joining us on our 3rd episode of Inside Butler Football.
Appreciate it, Bree.
That will do it for this week's episode of Inside Butler Football. We thank you for watching.